A lot of new anime has just recently been released, and there's still a ton of quality anime that I have yet to watch from last season, but for some reason I decided to dive into the Monogatari universe, and we will be starting where we should be starting, with Bakemonogatari, and I'm tackling the first arc called the Hitagi Crab. Now, this anime got my attention immediately from the start because there are words flashing so fast that you are unable to read it, and for some reason you just feel it in your core that this plays an important part of what the story is about. So what I did was I went back and then slowly scrolled through these words, and it took me by surprise because these words describe situations and circumstances about something bad happening to someone in the prior year. I think that this is in regards to the MC, but who knows, I'm only 2 episodes in, so I could be mistaken. But before you even get to the opening credits of the show, you see a girl falling from the sky in the school building, and for some reason this school building has one huge ass circular staircase that I have never seen in any other anime or even in real life. So then the song starts, and then you are left with so many questions. This arc, the Hitagi Crab, is based on Senjo Kahara Hitagi. Now she's the girl that fell from the sky, and you actually realize that it's her arc because Hitagi Crab is a name. Now she is a self-proclaimed tsundere, which she hilariously tells the main character, and she uses school stationery as her weapon. She is like a gang leader, she acts like a gang leader, and staplers, pencils, protractors, doesn't matter, are her weapons. Now when we meet her for the first time, after she fell from the sky, she interrogates Kiyomi, and she does this in a violent way, by not only putting a blade within his mouth, she also puts a stapler. And the thing is, she actually uses the stapler to staple like the inside of his mouth. And she explains that she did that because she doesn't show, or she doesn't want there to be a mark on the outside, so no one can actually have evidence that she actually did it. But what's important is we learn that she is actually weightless. She actually weighs only 5 kilograms, and we'll further learn that she weighs this little because a crab stole her weight. That's correct. A crab, like the sea creature, literally stole her weight. Now, the main character of the show is Araragi Kiyomi, and it actually took 10 minutes and 55 seconds into the episode before we learn his name. Now, how do I know this? Because I was actually wondering, what is this guy's name? Because this guy keeps speaking in the beginning and we never learn his name. But when I went back to read the words in the beginning of the show, we actually see they actually mentioned his name, but it goes past so quickly that you actually don't see it. Now when Hitagi stapled his mouth, it felt and it seemed sore, like it hurt him. But we learned that wounds has no effect on him. Either he heals quickly or it just doesn't take no damage, but we saw blood, so I assume he heals quickly. And we learn further that he was actually a vampire, but he is no longer one, which means he got changed back to human, and which means now that he's no longer immortal. Now another question I'm having is then, how long was he a vampire? So is this his still age? But before we even move on, another main character in the show that we meet is older gentleman, 30 years old, called Oshino Meme. Now, I have no exact idea what this guy does, what his occupation is, or what he is actually doing. But we learn that with him, there is a own vampire named Oshino Shinobu. And we know absolutely nothing about her. But few bits and pieces we learn about him is that he has actually helped Kiyomi turn back into human from a vampire. And it actually cost Kiyomi a large sum of money. And some reason he knows how to deal with gods. Now the crux of this arc is in regards to the crab that stole Hitagi's weight. And my mind was absolutely blown when I learned that the psychological baggage that Hitagi had and wanted to get rid of literally manifested itself in physical weight she had on the shoulders, and the god physically wanted to reduce the weight for her. So the psychological baggage was actually turned into like a literal mess. Now we learn from like a flashback that Hitagi was a sickly young girl and she even went for surgery and almost didn't survive. Now in order to cope with this, like with her daughter's sickness, Hitagi's mother joined an evil cult and poured all her fortune into them. Like she gave them a lot of her money. She even invited the evil cult leader to their house and did absolutely nothing when the leader almost assaulted her daughter. Now this resulted later in Hitagi's parents divorcing and her living with her father, and she decided that she could not carry this heavy baggage and literally cut herself off from her mother. Now the crab, which we learn in this thing, which actually also surprised me, is actually a good god, because he literally decided to take all of Hitagi's feelings and thoughts, saving her from the psychological issues which resulted further then in her weightlessness. But in order for Hitagi to get the weight back, she had to face all these issues. This was absolutely amazing and surprising in a good way. Now, another thing that impressed me about this show is the environmental images. In many scenes we see images of staircases or buildings or like from different angles and different colors, and it's absolutely beautiful and it draws you in and it just gives you like your attention in it, and it's absolutely fantastic. But I have a lot of questions after this arc, like how and why did Kiyomi turn into a vampire, and how are you able to turn back? Did Shinobu, who's like her own vampire, did she have a hand in this? I didn't mention earlier, but Oshino Meme actually helped the class rep Hanakawa Tsubasa. We met Tsubasa earlier in the show, but she didn't play too big a role. She just gave a bit of backstory of Hitagi. And what is Oshino Meme exactly, and what does he do? But we will tackle all these questions and probably many more that comes when we tackle the next arc, Mayoi Snail. Hope to see you then. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, all the good things, and I will see you again. Goodbye.